It's 2 in the morning in a small town north of Manila. A group of men forced their way into the home of a local farmer where 2 university students are also staying.
Hoy! Buksan niyo to! Kung hindi, papangilin ko kayo! Hoy!
Nagising po ako nung narinig kong sumisigaw na po si Ate Sherlyn.
This reenactment is based on the sworn statement of 14-year-old Wilfredo Ramos.
Ang sabi po sa akin, wag daw po kaming matakot at kukunin lang daw po nila yung 2 estudyante ng UP dahil po pinagbibintangan nilang mga...
Hoy! Ikaw! Umupo ka! Anong pangalan mo?
Karen Empeno po.
Ikaw! Anong pangalan mo?
Sherlyn Cadapan po. Ay!
Sherlyn Cadapan was 29 years old with a baby on the way. She was an accomplished athlete and a former phys ed student from the University of the Philippines. On that night, she was with Karen Empeno, a sociology student from the university. They were conducting research into the plight of peasant farmers so that 22-year-old Karen could complete her thesis.
This is Karen's compilation of her childhood up to 18th birthday. I'm really proud of her because she excels in all subject areas. So every subject area there is a medal.
Karen Empeno is the third of Concepcion Empeno's 5 children.
That's Special Science High.
By all accounts, a clever girl, loving and dedicated to her friends and family.
And this is her papa, Karen with mama.
From their modest home in the province of Zambales to the northwest of Manila, Concepcion and Oscar Empeno have struggled to come to terms with what's happened to their daughter. Almost a year ago, Mrs. Empeno was looking forward to a visit from Karen.
Her birthday is July 22 and my birthday is July 23rd. And she was not able to come home because June 26 was her abduction. She was supposed to be with the family.
On the day she found out about her daughter's disappearance, Mrs. Empeno was at the local primary school, where she is principal. It was just an ordinary day until she got a text message from one of Karen's friends.
I just shed my tears when I got the news. I wanted Karen to be with us. I want to see her. Most probably she will be, I want to see her alive, not dead. I miss Karen. The family miss her very, very much.
The families say the women have been caught up in an undeclared war against those on the wrong side of politics. Since 2001, hundreds of members of farmers' organisations, trade unionists and leftist activists have been killed or have disappeared. The Empenos and the Cadapans believe the military took their daughters, and they say there's evidence to prove it. On June the 27th, the night after the women were abducted, Oscar Luterio says he was being held captive at a military base. He says he saw the women with several soldiers.
Nagiinuman po sila doon sa terrace ng safe house. Narinig ko po sinabi nung isa sa mga militar na may 2 babae doon sa van. Magaganda eka sila. Pagsayawin eka natin habang tayo nagiinuman.
Oscar Luterio says Sherlyn Cadapan and Karen Empeno were brought here to the Fort Magsaysay military camp in the neighbouring province. Accused of being a communist rebel, Mr. Luterio says he was held in a house on the base with at least 8 others.
Pwede po na ginagawa nila dahil po yung nakasama kong babae ron na nasiraan nga ng bait, ganun din. Kung ano po yung ginagawang pang-torture sa amin, ganun din po yung ginagawa sa kanila.
This is the man who was in charge of Fort Magsaysay at the time Karen Empeno and Sherlyn Cadapan are said to have been there. Major-General Jovencito Palparan. Were they ever at Fort Magsaysay where you were commanding, as has been alleged?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Why
I don't
don't you
think
know?
so. There's no information about that.
Foreign correspondent was given access to Fort Magsaysay, where new recruits get their first taste of life with the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the AFP. Like any military trainees, the young men are taught the importance of discipline and teamwork. But while recruits in other parts of the world look for their enemies in history books or foreign lands, in the Philippines, the enemy is here and now among some of its 90 million citizens. In the barangays or villages across the country, the military is engaged in a prolonged campaign against the communists and their armed wing, the New People's Army, or the NPA.
The New People's Army, which is the one waging the armed struggle, do 2 things. First one is agitation. The other one is propaganda. So agitation and propaganda. How do they terrorize a populace of about 5,000 in a barangay? They get one, kill that in the basketball court in front of so many people, and the entire barangay is already terrorized.
After 48 years of American sovereignty, the people of the Philippines assume the status of an independent nation.
Communist rebels have been fighting the Philippines government on and off ever since independence. Several years after the fall of Ferdinand Marcos in the mid-80s, the Communist Party was finally legalised and absorbed into the legitimate political process. But the New People's Army has continued the guerrilla war and is classed as a terrorist organisation by the United States and the European Union.
They would like to change our democratic system into a socialist-oriented form of government.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines says that many legal left-wing organisations, including the League of Filipino Students, to which Karen Empeno belonged, are recruitment agencies for the guerrillas.
Basically, the strategy is to pursue the concept of converting our democratic system into Maoist, Leninist, and Mao Zedong thought.
While communism has all but disappeared in most parts of the world, it is alive and well in the Philippines, partly because of the millions of desperately poor people here. Successive governments have promised to redistribute land to the poor, but have failed to deliver. Peasant farmers are routinely intimidated by rich landowners who pay off the politicians. Since the current government came to power, hundreds of people working to mobilise the poor have been murdered or suddenly disappear.
At ako si Ginang Empeno, ina ni Karen, na dinukot noong June 26, 2006 sa Hagonoy, Bulacan.
The deaths and disappearances have brought the families and friends of the victims together, seeking solace and justice. Mrs. Empeno meets regularly with Sherlyn Cadapan, Sherlyn's mother.
Hahanapin kita sa agil ng punglo.
The Victims Campaign has gained momentum since the release of a United Nations investigation implicating members of the military in the extrajudicial killings.
Ipagtatanong ka sa libong kamao.
The report also criticises the government of President Gloria Arroyo for failing to act.
Katarungan para sa lahat ng biktima ng karahasan.
How shall we cry out for justice? How shall we cry out for truth? Those who have spoken their gun to the ground.
The international attention only provides so much comfort for the Empeno and Cadapan families.
With workers at with harassment.
They blame Major-General Jovencito Palparan. He's been dubbed the Butcher because of the high incidence of unexplained killings in the last 3 of his command posts. He denies all knowledge of Karen and Sherlyn. But he says there was military intelligence about 2 female NPA guerrillas operating in the area at the time.
They may be students before, I don't know. But they were the ones who were actually dominating the locals there.
The violence and suffering must cease.
They are the ones taxing people. They are the ones intimidating people. And they have firearms. And the people are saying that they are the ones who are involved in the killings of a number of people in that area.
And you think that could have been Karen Empeno and Sherlyn Cadapan?
Perhaps they are the ones they are looking for.
Here in San Jose City, we have 38 barangays.
The military spends a lot of its time and resources looking for the communists and trying to root out the New People's Army from rural areas.
What have we here? This is Lady Amazon, we call it NPA Amazon, who was killed by her own comrades. She was a former student of Central Luzon State University.
Lieutenant Colonel Joey Kakalala is leading the fight against the NPA in Central Luzon province.
She was recruited.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines says it's being blamed for killings that are part of an internal purge by the communists.
Our conscience is clear that the AFP would not tolerate all those kind of actions, such as extrajudicial killings.
There's no such thing as extrajudicial killing insofar as military operations is concerned. It is only done by the communist terrorists.
Across the country, the military is trying to win the hearts and minds of the people. Colonel Kakalala says the program is working in this village, which was once home to more than 1,000 supporters of the NPA.
Oh, galing to school, oh. Spell cat.
C-U-T.
C-A-T. Good boy.
Colonel Kakalala was under the command of General Palparan until the general's retirement last year. Have you ever been involved in extrajudicial killings or any of these abductions or disappearances of leftist activists?
No, I am at the level of, when I was accused of this, I was already brigade commander, then division commander. I provide command, I provide the direction, but not tactical activities.
Did you ever order your subordinates to engage in extrajudicial killings or disappearances?
I know it's illegal. No.
And then this extraordinary admission that he could have inspired civilians to kill.
I might have encouraged or inspired people to take the law into their hands, but that is not intentional. I was only encouraging them to fight or to defend themselves.
He was not able to control his men in some areas in the country where they were assigned. And I would say in one of his testimonies, he said that I did not really order my men to kill. I only inspired them.
Jovencito Zuno is the top prosecutor in the Philippines. He served with the Mello Commission, a government inquiry into the extrajudicial killings.
The superior officer cannot escape responsibility or liability for any acts committed by his men within his supervision.
The President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Surely she has to take some responsibility.
When these extrajudicial killings reached that alarming point, she created the task force that will investigate these extrajudicial killings and this Mello Commission.
Her Excellency Gloria Arroyo, the President of the Republic of the Philippines.
While the President has finally taken steps to investigate the deaths that have escalated since she's been in power,
in the harshest possible terms, I condemn political killings.
She's also twice promoted the man militant groups called the Butcher and publicly praised him.
Sa mga lalawigang sakop ng 7th Division, nakikibaka sa kalaban si Jovencito Palparan. Hindi siya aatras hanggang makawala sa gabi ng kilabot ang mga pamayanan at makaahon sa bukang liwayway ng hustisya at kalayaan.
Do you think the Communist Party should be illegal?
Yes, because they are, I said, doing a lot of illegal things. They're actually destroying communities, families, people, individuals, organizations, institutions. They have to be out. They have to disappear.
But do you accept that there is a difference between the people who are waging the armed battle and those who are unarmed, who may just be students who are trying to advise farmers of their rights, they're trade unionists trying to advise workers of their rights?
There is a difference somehow in the approach, but eventually it's the same because they are talking to people, assisting them for the purpose of inviting them to revolution.
The constant threat of a military coup means Mrs. Arroyo can't take too strong a line against her military leaders. And just last year, the President declared an all-out war against the communists, saying the insurgency had to be crushed within 2 years.
It's like martial law. It's the same as martial law during the Marcos regime. I hate the military as I hate the government because they are not really giving this security. They are a threat. That was the last time we were together.
The Empeno family is doing its best to continue their lives. But where once music filled their home, there is now a heaviness and a sadness here. Karen's parents refused to believe what a government minister told them, that their daughter was a senior cadre with the New People's Army.
They got murdered.
During our visit, Oscar Empeno revealed his own past as a member of the underground resistance movement fighting the Marcos regime.
I was one of the organizer of FIST, Financial Intermediary Society Against Tyranny. That was martial law time. So, if I could no longer see my daughter, I have to go back to that time.
Karen Empeno was heavily influenced by her father's radical background.
She knows too much.
About what?
The graft and corruption, the disparity in the lives of the Filipino people. Those are just two. And she knows the revolution. She have read from those books. She was inspired by it.
The Empeños have held meetings with politicians and written letters to public officials, including the president. They're pursuing a court case against the military. Still, they don't know where their daughter is or if anyone with any authority is trying to find out what happened to her. But they hope and pray that they'll see her again.
And I'm appealing that she will be surfaced the earlier or immediately. The government should not be waiting for so long.
They have to surface her or linguist her on charge her with treason, rebellion. So we will know if she's still alive or she's dead. Just produce her body, dead or alive.
What would you like to say to her?
Just sing her favorite song. Tumulong ka, anak pawis, huwag alintanain ang sugat sa dibdib. Wala nang ibang makalulunas, kundi ikaw sa iyong mga palad. That's it.
They would be sold, but should wait before things.